We haven't even started.
Fun.
Ah,
I love this. This is so cool.
I thought we'd at least get through halfway.
It's okay. It's fun. Steph, it's fun. That's how it is, kids, right? Who is it?
They might go away. I don't, the knocking kind of sounds like Eve, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll see. It's gone. Can you hear that knocking?
Yep, I can hear the knocking. I think you'll have to open the door.
Oh, okay, well, whilst I check on her, Petra, do you want to introduce yourself and and your work, and I will come back in 30 seconds.
Sure. Hi, everyone. While Steph is doing a beautiful work with her beautiful baby. So for anyone that doesn't know me, I am Petra. My last name is Tezak. If you can't pronounce that, it's perfectly fine. I am feminine essence empowerment coach, also work with energy. I don't like the energy healer though. I do facilitate healing, but otherwise I work with women, a majority of women that feel lost. They feel they want to, dive in more into their feminine energy or feminine essence, but also with women that are suffering with either endometriosis or painful periods and things that have to do with the womb. And I love this work. And I actually stumbled on this work on my own journey. Which I never thought I would be doing this when I was little. I never thought I'd be doing this. But I kind of, I don't know, just move into this area through my own personal story. But yeah, here I am. And I met you, not even a year ago, Steph?
Yeah, I think it was at the start of the year, would have been in like February, March, end of February.
Probably.
And it was actually the night before the business workshop seminar thing we were going to. And so maybe it's not a funny story. I think it's a funny story. Petra you were on the panel of 4 women who were sort of feminine essence mentors and coaches and energy healers and things like that, run by another friend of ours, Jeanette Mundy. Louise was there, Michelle, Anne, and
me, and
there's another one. 4 of you.
Yeah, I forgot who.
Louise, you,
Michelle.
It wasn't Diane because she was in the back with me. I don't know. This is terrible. I took photos. Anyway,
me too.
Whoever was there on the night,
please let us know because we forgot. We'll check the photos.
Anyway, yeah, we'll check the photos. Anyway, so yeah, and I was at the end. They all said come up for questions or chat to us, and I was like looking at Petra, and I was like, no. Like, I think I spoke to Jeanette, who was running it, and I just didn't have this was me like 9 months ago, probably now, not very confident. I had no idea. You guys were all speaking on intuition. And I had no idea. I was like, no, that's not me. I don't have intuition.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
didn't even know that.
This is the first time I had been to any kind of energy, spirituality, feminine essence, any of that kind of learning. And so I felt super out of my depth. I was like, I'll just go because I flew in a night early for the conference thing. Anyway, so that was, I couldn't, I really want to go and talk to Petra, and I think I spoke to Jeanette. Maybe I said hi to Louise, but I couldn't talk to you, which is so silly now. And I wish I did, because we've become such good friends, and I count you as one of my mentors and my feminine essence coach. So I'm very excited to have you on. So thank you.
And I love you for being my friend, because I actually really love connecting with you. And I was like, oh my God, she didn't connect with me. What the heck? It's like, why did you come to me? No, but I didn't know that this was your first contact. Oh my God, talk about a wake-up call. And look at you now, completely changed.
I know. Yeah, I have. And I feel like, obviously you and some of the other women have had a big part in that. And hopefully some of the mums and women on the group tonight, or watching wherever you're watching on Facebook, I think every time Petra speaks, I just I'm kind of like, and I want to write notes, and I want to, like, I have light bulb moments, and I have aha moments, and I think, oh my God, I didn't know that about us and our body or our energy. I didn't know that was within me. I didn't feel very spiritual. And so this has been like a growth year for me. And so, yeah, I have huge gratitude to you for helping me on this journey. It's so exciting. I'm really excited to chat with you tonight.
And I love seeing you grow. Like, honestly, I love seeing you experiment, and I love seeing your face when you go, oh my God. And I just love that feeling. I really do. And this is something that it's a part of me. Like, honestly, this is something that I really love. And I love seeing people thrive, and I love seeing people change. And, when you start with someone and you see them all lost and don't know what to do. They don't trust themselves, and then you see them grow. See, I get goosebumps. And you see them grow, and they become this, empowered women, that they completely start trusting themselves and trusting their decisions and whatever they do in life. And they rely not only on the outside and external support and acknowledgement, but majority, with our own inner support and acknowledgement, which I think it's lacking now in this world, right?
Yes, yeah, like that is half the reason. I think I would love that. We've got a fair few mums hopping on, and I would love you guys to say, I'm watching on my phone, that's why I'm looking down.
Yeah.
Say hello and tell us where you're watching from, because I am, I feel like, particularly some of us, some of you guys might resonate with this. I definitely did. I felt like I was a little bit stuck and definitely not confident. Like, before, doing the feminine essence empowerment work, I felt like I wasn't, it's funny, I felt like I wasn't particularly feminine, which is silly because you can see I tried to be, but I like to be, but I felt like I wasn't. I felt like being a mum was, sometimes that was hard work, and sometimes I didn't enjoy it. And I felt like, well, what do I want, and what do I love, and how do I connect back to me, and what's important to me, and where do I find that inner knowing and the inner calm and the inner wisdom that we all have. But I just thought that was not for me. Like, I thought it was for those people out there, the people who know about spirituality or about their own energy and presence and things like that. So that is kind of like, and to be honest, like, we don't learn this stuff at school, and I didn't learn it growing up. And we've talked a bit about things like having your first period, and what the connotation was, or what the meaning. Like, for me, the meaning was just like, oh well, get some pads and you'll have this for the rest of your life. Like, it wasn't the way you explain it. So maybe we should start at the start, which is, what is to you, what is feminine essence? What does that mean? Why is it important?
So, really good question. Because before I answer what it is to me, I just want to say that when you were explaining, that you're not feminine, and it goes for a lot of women out there, right? So, and I completely relate to that, right? So, and I'll tell you a story about why is this important for me. But when you were describing it, how you felt that you didn't belong, and you didn't feel like you are a good mom, or that you didn't feel that you fit in there, and how can you be more feminine, and you're trying. Yeah, so the thing is, I think it's a lot of perceptions out there what feminine really is, right? And we want to fit in that box, right? So I think it's really important that I honor that you actually went back to yourself and said, what is important to me, right? Because if you look at feminine essence, everybody has their own perspective of what feminine essence is, and there is no right or wrong. And I love that about it, because there is no definition, right? There's no label we can put on our forehead, right, and say, this is what it is. Yeah, right now I can wear with this hat, and then I walk around it, and this is who I am. Well, it's not, right? We tend to put all these labels on ourselves, but we're not. We are completely a different person within ourselves, inside of us, than we are outside. So for me, feminine essence, personally, is about being playful, being, opening my heart and being in flow and really trusting my intuition and my messages of my body, and honoring my body, honoring my time, and also listening to the emotions that come up, and sharing, and literally sharing the space with myself, and honoring that space, not suppressing and repressing, and this should be that and this should be that. Yeah. So but really, really listening, and that silence, that inner silence, that for me is feminine essence. And there's also empowerment and strength, and really growing and expanding. There's so many things that we can go into, right? But it's not about what you wear, it's not about how you look, it's completely not about if you're female or male, because feminine essence, and either femininity or masculinity, it has nothing to do with sex or gender. Yeah, it has everything to do with the energy of how we approach something, of how we look at something. And the feminine energy and masculine energy are in both, men and women, and kids have it. Yeah. And kids, the thing is, they are beautiful teachers of that, because they live in that space, they live in that balanced space, and which we actually forgot about. So it's beautiful to see how we can learn from them, and they come to teach us, which is, I think, the most beautiful gift we can ever have.
Yeah, I love that. I wholeheartedly resonate with the fact that discovering and utilizing our feminine essence is basically, or it starts with, I like how you usually say, turn your eyes inward,
Yeah.
right? And drop into your body. Have that time, that space, like set the intention to kind of look at how you're feeling, check in, do a bit of a scan, how you're feeling and what's coming up, and honoring that. I never had that awareness. I was so focused on outward stuff going on and deadlines and kids and like behavior and, emails and stuff. And it's easy to, definitely as a parent, to get caught up in all the stuff going on outside rather than reflecting on what's going on inside. Does that make sense?
Completely. But can you tell me something? Like, I don't have kids, but I would love to learn from you. Have you noticed, I don't know, maybe when you are not aligned with yourself, what does that mean? When you're not in balance, when you don't feel like really calm within yourself, right? Do you feel that your kids tend to react more when you're not in balance?
Oh my gosh. I can tell that when now, because I'm more attuned to it,
Yeah.
before I just used to think, it's such a crap day, everything's going wrong, like nothing's working, and no, you're being naughty and you're being rude and you would see that kind of cause effect. And now I'm so much more aware, because I'm more in tune with myself and my emotions. I'm attuned to them, both my kids. So now I can see that flow between when I'm out of balance, if I haven't taken time for my self-care, which, oh my gosh, that has just almost skyrocketed like over the last few months, because I know how important it is. I know it sounds like a cliche to fill your own cup, but it's not. And we all speak about the same thing for a good reason, because I will see that if I'm not in balance, if I'm not aligned, or something's, with me, there's a bit of turbulence, then that massively reflects on the kids, and it shows up with them, with their energy and their emotions and their behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, which I actually love, is, don't get me wrong, when I will have kids, probably I'll have a challenge with that, and I'll come back to you. But but you never know. You never know, right? What happens? But the thing is, they're the greatest teachers. And the thing is, kids live, and you actually know that, right? So they live up to 7-8 years of age. They live on a completely different wavelength. Yeah. So our brains have different waves. Yeah. So they live on a theta wave, so which is actually subconscious, and they're like sponges. Yeah. So they
I was just talking
absorb.
to someone about this the other, like 2 nights, Saturday night, and we were talking about the theta brainwaves in that 0 to 7. Tell us more about that, please.
because they actually absorb everything, right? So they're not closed-minded, so they don't have limitations in the way that we think, right? So we have, oh, this is the rule, this is how we do it, this is the responsibility, this is what, you know, comes after. They live in this network, right? So they actually absorb every single thing they hear, every single thing they feel, and they actually tune into your energy, right? We can't describe energy because we can't hold it, right? But we can see it. We have the light, right? We have the electricity. We have, you know, we can feel the emotions of people, right? Because when we feel sad, we can feel sad for someone else as well. So that's energy, right? And we can do a woo-woo thing, whatever we want, but, you know, there's new science and, you know, physics that's proving this. And it's not important, but we can feel it in the body. And the most important thing is kids feel it, right? So when kids actually feel the feel, they feel you. They actually can feel and react before you actually know what's going on with yourself. So it's a really good thing, instead of like, you know, and I get it, because I grew up in a family that, you know, was out of balance, was not, you know, in tune. And I understand, my, you know, my parents did the best they could, and there's no blame on that. But at the same time, it teaches me that, you know, something needs to change. And it's really beautiful to understand that, you know, when you look at kids, I don't know if anyone had this experience, probably with your own child as well. You know, when you go and when they're really little, they don't look at you in your eyes because they can't see properly, right? So they look around. They go and look around your face, they look around your body. So what they're actually seeing is your aura. They're actually tapping into the field of energy. So they actually see things, which is really interesting. And there's a new documentary that came out as well. It's called The Language of Creation, which one lady, which was years ago, she was on Oprah as well. She discovered that babies actually have their own language when they're born, up to 3 months. So they actually speak a language called Paleo-Hebrew. And that language actually exists. It's one of the oldest languages in the world. And when they actually, up to 3 months, they start speaking Paleo-Hebrew, but mother and father don't understand them. So they actually start learning their own language, so the language of the parents. So the thing is, they've done multiple trials, you know, on recording the language of the kids. And what they've actually found is that this is a really good sign of how we interact, which is also a part of the feminine essence, right? Because emotions are a part of feminine essence. Why? Because feminine essence is the fluid part. It's the one that doesn't have the structure, right? It has the swirls and the curves, right? So it moves, right? So it's the flow of the river. And it's really beautiful because kids actually, and we all, learn language subconsciously before we actually speak it. But we don't actually learn it forward, we actually learn it backwards. So what happens is they started doing recordings of kids, you know, when they started gibberish, blah, 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 right? So they recorded the gibberish and they played it back. So they rewind it, and it came out with a clear word of mama, or it came out with a clear word of thank you, or it came out with a clear word, it's phenomenal. So it's really interesting how our energetic field, our subconscious mind, influences our environment, and kids know how to do that like this. And if we actually, you know, invite them to, you know, like you do with emotional intelligence, right? Invite them to tune into the body, which is a part of the feminine, right? To listen to their emotions, to understand what their emotions are and what, you know, outside of the world is and where's the boundary. They can tune in and understand the balance between the structure and the feminine, so structure masculine, and the feminine, which is emotion and sharing and holding the space and tuning into the messages of the body, the intuition. And we as people, as well as parents, we can learn from them because they know this automatically. And all they need to do is we need to listen and tune in. Yes, that's the hardest thing, because kids are complete mirrors. They will shine the light on every single thing we don't want to look at. And that is also a part of the feminine, which is called the shadow work. And yes, nobody wants to go in there because it's harder. But at the same time, it's crucial, because without that, we can't pull off the layers that are holding us back, and we can't 100% be there for our kids,
Yeah.
because otherwise we can't hold the space for them if we're not willing to do that for ourselves.
And that's exactly the same as the emotional intelligence work that I talk about, is that we've got to be able to hold space and show up for our kids by embodying the work, so to speak, or whatever we're learning. We can't give what we don't have. You know, if we're not taking that time and setting that intention to, go inward and reflect and listen to our emotions and the energy and things like that, how are we going to expect our kids to do it? You know, if we're modeling the opposite of that and being reactive and up in our busy head and making decisions up there, then we're not, I remember something that that you spoke about and teach on, about knowing your true values, in terms of not just like what things are important to you, but how does it feel when you think of certain different values? How does it feel in your body? Is there resistance, or does it feel calm, and is there strength? And I think for our kids, or a lot of us think we want to impart values to our kids around kindness or respect or boundaries, or one of mine was balance, I remember. And some of these things are so powerful, not just for us but for our kids too. I did want to ask you about, actually, I've written it down, a little bit about, as mums, I suppose the power of our womb, and how we have, I think, forgotten what that means, and forgotten how we can sort of leverage having that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes huge sense, because if we look at bringing a child into the world is creating life. So the womb space, energetically, it's not just the uterus, right? So the womb space is everything that sits in the pelvic floor, yeah, in the bowl. So everything that's in that bowl, that's the womb space. That's held energetically. And even women that don't have the uterus anymore, they still can connect to that space. And we need to remember that even when organs are taken away out of the body, they still leave an energetic imprint in there. Yeah, so we can still connect to them.
Know that.
So, sorry?
Didn't know that. So that's because,
Oh, yeah.
for people who may have had it removed, or people who've been through menopause or things like that,
Yeah.
it's good to know that side of things, that it is still, I think, did you say it's got an energetic
Imprint? Yeah. So it's like a signature, right? So as we talk with energy, everything vibrates, right? So we vibrate on different frequencies. That's like different signatures. Yeah. So there's different stamps that these energies leave, right? So there's been research done on people that have organ, like legs or arms amputated, and they could still feel them, right? Because the brain still has the connection. So it's really important to understand that in today's world, which is something that really saddens me, is that when something's wrong in our body, yeah, so something feels painful and there's issues, right? Or even, after we have kids, and, doctors sometimes say, well, you're not going to have kids, you don't need the uterus, so let's just take it out, right? So we need to understand that the uterus is not there just to create kids. Yeah, so that's the first thing I want to say, is the uterus is there because it's empowerment. It's something that's so important for our women's body, but at the same time, it has an energetic connection to ourselves. It's literally the space of creativity. We create things out of it. If we create life, we can create other things as well. So it's really important to understand that this is not just for sex, or it is not just for reproduction. And we need to understand also that with the uterus comes the cycle. They're connected. And as women, we normally think, when we have period, oh my God, another thing, like you said, this is what you're going to have till the end of the life. Oh my God, I need to work with this, right? The thing is, we don't honor this. We don't honor this enough, and we don't understand the potential our cycle actually has on our health. And a lot of women don't understand, that your cycle actually brings you hormones of happiness. It actually prevents you from dropping into depression. It actually prevents you from, getting sick in the body, because all of that happens in the uterus literally influence every single part of the body.
Mm.
So it's really important to understand. I'm not going to go into details, but the thing is, when we look at the womb, and a lot of women think, when we go to the doctor, and normally doctors say, your uterus is tilted, and that's okay. Majority of women have that, right? The thing is, uterus has a specific place, and it's really intelligent organ. And if it's tilted just a bit, it can actually influence the flow around your body, your blood flow, your lymph flow, your hormones, and your oxygen that comes to your organs. So all of that connected can influence your health. But not only that, if your uterus is tilted, your birth will be really painful, because if it's not adjusted properly, the baby can't get out. And
Mm.
it's really important, because then, prolapses happen, and there's, collapses, of the uterus either way, forward, backwards, and then you have scar tissue on your, either gut, or either colon, or either bladder. So there's a lot of things that physically happen in there. But the majority, in the point after birth, normally uterus tilts, because the uterus is actually located, and it's not fixed. Yeah, uterus moves throughout the cycle all the time. And it's really interesting. A lot of women don't know that uterus actually helps you get pregnant. It's really intelligent, because when you are ovulating, and it's time to, there's a sperm that comes together, and when the egg is actually, um, you know, um, joined with sperm, um, when it needs to implement, so really into the uterus will move to catch the egg.
Mm.
So in order to survive and reproduce.
So
So it
intelligent.
has beautiful intelligence. And a lot of women, also don't understand how important self-care of the uterus after birth is, because we were never taught about that. This is something that was never even mentioned. But we need to understand that majority of civilizations around the world have been doing, yoni steams or vaginal steaming, or even massages, abdominal massage, for thousands of years.
Mm.
And we don't know how to do it today.
I know we've lost all of that. Like you say, for thousands of years, other um, civilizations have been doing and have learned and passed down information and knowledge and wisdom. And for a lot of us in the Western world, it's just been lost. And now we think of being feminine as maybe weak, or having periods as annoying. There's a lot of stuff that we just like, they just don't, we don't learn it anymore. It doesn't get taught. And our parents maybe just have the quick chat with us when we when we turn teenagers, and that's it. So
But it's also, I think, it's the culture of shaming, right? Because we don't want to talk about it, it's taboo. But how can we not talk about it? This is for our kids, for our girls, and not only for girls, for the boys as well. How can I always think of this, right? When kids are growing, and I would love to have that as well. Or, my partner said, I would love to have that when I was little. Because if we don't share this and include our kids into this journey, how can they feel this is acceptable or normal? How can they feel that this is something to be celebrated? And how can a boy turn into a man and support the women,
yeah,
on their journeys when
yeah.
they need the support? And they don't know. I'm honestly, like, my partner didn't even know when we started, 19 years ago, how to support me. He wanted to support me, but he didn't know how,
Mm,
because we were never taught. And
mm,
I didn't know how, because I was never taught.
yeah.
So, I always say, I love the work that you do, because you're tapping into the beginning of the new generation, and really bringing new culture and new foundations on which we're actually building the world. And I think it's so important that we work on ourselves as women, because I truly believe that the feminine essence we hold, and normally because we're women, we tend to hold majority of the percentage. Yeah, so we all have feminine and masculine energies within us, but as women, in majority, we tend to have higher percentage of feminine and lower percentage of masculine. I'm not saying that it can't be the other way, not at all, but majority, yeah, in average. And if we as women tune into that space within us and honor the space of and the energy of who we really are, I truly believe that the feminine essence, the energy that is the flow, the swirls, the river, it's the catalyst of change. Because if you look at the masculine energy, what it does, it's like I always say, the feminine energy is like a liquid and the masculine energy is like a cup. Yeah. So yeah. So with a cup without the liquid has no purpose. Yeah. So it's kind of lonely. A liquid without a cup on the table is like a mess. Yeah. So you pour the liquid in a cup, and cup is the one that protects it. So the masculine energy protects the feminine. It holds the space. It gives it structure. Yeah. So the feminine can swirl and can create and move around. Yeah. So if we look at the feminine, she's in the center. Yeah. So she creates out of that center. Yeah. So when we look at the masculine and feminine in the world, the feminine starts something and the masculine continues and literally expands the space so she can create. So when we teach our kids, we teach both, because otherwise we don't change anything.
Yeah. Wow. So powerful. And so, there's such strength in knowing and having that knowledge, which like we were saying, hasn't been passed on to us for many reasons, but to have that awareness and that, I see it as coming back to that wisdom that we all have within us somewhere from many, many generations ago. But if we don't have it, we can't utilize it. And I, for one, felt very wasn't particularly religious, and wasn't, thought I wasn't spiritual, and felt very just like very concrete. Here I am on this planet, which can be very lonely. And so to learn about this feminine essence and how it can empower us as women and as mums, and we can pass it on to our kids, that we are, both of us in our work in different ways, are shaping the adults of the future, and they are going to, if they become parents, they will pass it on to their kids, and then we will slowly see that shift. So I love your work, and I'm so glad I was able to like lock you in and get you on. And I'm reaching out to any women who are watching, any mums who think I need to, like, when I heard Petra speak, and before I kind of got to know her and got in touch with her, I obviously heard her in person that day in February this year, and then followed her online. And it's just about reaching out and sort of making contact, starting to learn about this, knowing how we can utilize it and leverage it for ourselves as a whole chunk, like a piece of the puzzle, that if you're not aware of this or not doing any learning around it, then I feel, that's missing out a little bit for us and for our kids. So I feel like we could talk all night, but I know you've got something coming up, really exciting, that you could share with the people who are watching tonight, and tell us a bit about what's coming up so that they can get in, and how they can get in touch with you, of course, as well.
Sure. I would like to touch on what you said before as well, when as mums, right? And when we get in touch with ourselves and we find that calm space within, we tend to not see kids as a problem anymore. And we can see them as a, solution, and also, a challenge to really tune in and balance. But if any mums that would love to learn more about themselves and how to, tackle not only the emotional part, we take that into consideration as well, but to take a look at the physical part if there's any challenges, and also how to tune into the intuition and to the, your own energy, and how to look at your values and really look at, who you are in the center, so you can get to know yourself better. I have a half-day workshop, so it's called Empower Your Feminine Essence workshop. It's 4 hours this Saturday on the 5th of December. It is 9 till 1 p.m., so 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. Brisbane time. So Sydney time, that will be 10 till 2. There are only a few tickets left. We're almost fully booked. So my VA will post a link in the comments underneath the live. So if you would like to join us, you're more than welcome to do so. Please book your ticket as fast as you can. And I would love to connect with you on Saturday.
Yes, and it's you may have mentioned it or I forgot. It's online, so
Yes.
you guys, wherever you are watching, because I know we have a fair few women and men, but from the US, the UK, Singapore, Philippines, South America. I know we've got so many, and Africa. I was just reading this
Awesome.
when we welcomed new people into the group. It is insane, and I'm so grateful for the growth and everyone coming and jumping into the conversation about emotionally intelligent parenting. So wherever you are, it doesn't matter. You can work out the time zone, Brisbane time, 9 a.m. and I would highly recommend jumping in. Like Petra said, her assistant's going to put in the link to grab your free ticket, because like she said, there aren't many left. She doesn't run this all the time. You will kick yourself if you miss out. I'm so glad that I took the jump and just started learning and uncovering all of this around feminine essence, and feeling empowered and more calm, more centered, more grounded as a mom. It's a few hours of your time to reap the rewards with your whole family. So 100% get in there. Also, you have a Facebook community as well.
Yes, so if you would like, anyone that would like can join our Facebook community. I'll post the link underneath, but it's called Empowering Feminine Essence. There's some really, really good stuff coming for the new year. We are bringing a lot of new value in there. But I love to do practical stuff as well. So the workshop will have exercises as well. So you can take them home with you. So you can actually start empowering yourself. And I always love to empower. For me, I think it's really important to be empowered, not codependent, and really, start learning this stuff within ourselves, not just always looking and reaching out to others. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's really important to be a sovereign being. So
yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. I think that's going to be awesome. And I can see a couple of people on Facebook are saying, yes, count me in for sure. So
well done.
hurry up.
Would love to.
You're watching, get on. Join Petra's group as well. And yeah, a huge thank you again for coming along tonight and sharing your wisdom with us all. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Like, it's always fun to talk to you. I could talk to you for hours. I just feel like, yeah, I love having a chat with you. And thank you for having me. Like, this is an honor. It really is. And I love your community. Like, if whoever is new in Steph's community, she is like a sweetheart, honestly. Like, I love everybody, and I think everybody can relate to that. How you really feel. Like, I felt welcome in there, and I don't have kids, and it's really beautiful to have that kind of space, especially today in Facebook. So I really am honored to be a part of this. So thank you.
Thank you, Petra. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. I will say goodnight and see you on the next one. Bye.
See ya. Bye.